to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you? You need to put yourself on punishment. You need to tell you no more TV, no more snacks, no more desserts, no, we working out now. No more alcohol, not right now. No, I can't handle it right now. You need to tell you that you owe you something.
Another episode of HBCU Central Inside the Locker Room, and today we have another guest with us, FAMU guard Shania McCarthy. How are you doing joining us today?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
We're doing good. And I told Michael, I said, Michael, thank you for getting all this set up. You know, Michael, he takes the time out of his day to get all this set up. So, Michael, just to kick this off, because I said we weren't going to take long, let's get this started.
Absolutely. First of all, Ms. McCarthy, we thank you so much for taking the time to come on HBCU Central Network. And to all that's tuning in, welcome. If you don't mind, please like, comment, subscribe on today's episode. And please give a shout out to Ms. McCarthy from the Florida A&M University Rattlers. First of all, congratulations. Shout out to y'all on winning y'all rival, Bethune-Cookman. I know that's an intense rivalry, as I saw in the highlights. But to kick all this off, Ms. Carthy, my first question to you is, it's based off your recent performances. So for the people that don't know, listen to this, y'all. Ms. McCarthy has recently been driving a force for the Rattlers, notably earning SWAC Player of the Week honors in February. Ms. Carthy, my first question to you is your SWAC Player of the Week honors. You were recently named SWAC Player of the Week after averaging 18.5 points, 7 rebounds against Preview A&M and Texas Southern. What was clicking for you and the team during the Pacific Weekend sweep?
That specific week, honestly, I just think my teammates give me the confidence, and the coaches, from teammates to the coaches, the way we practiced that whole week, just the extra reps I was putting in outside of practice. That's honestly what clicked, and just going to the game with a confident mindset.
Yeah, and then my question to you is, because the season is wrapped up, y'all are getting about to get ready for the SWAC tournament, and congratulations for placing again 8th place. And I hope the best that y'all make it far in the tournament. But the question I have to ask you is just how do y'all prep? Because y'all got this bye, y'all start on Tuesday. How do y'all prep for the winner of Texas Southern or Bethune-Cookman? Because those are two very good teams in the SWAC on the women's side of the basketball.
We go into Evergreen with the same preparation. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just basketball. So we're going to do our scout on whomever wins that game. We're going to watch both teams, obviously, and just go into that game with confidence and get the dub.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, look, I'm going to say this because I hope. Michael, you can go. I say that.
Okay. Ms. McCarthy, my next question to you is called Transition and Growth. Ms. McCarthy, for the people that don't know, Ms. McCarthy transferred to Florida A&M from, Ms. McCarthy, please correct me if I'm saying this wrong, Curiocoso Community College?
It's Saracosa, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Saracosa. Okay, I got you. Where she was the Inland Empire Conference Player of the Year. Ms. McCarthy, my question to you is the JUCO to D1 transition. Coming from that community college as a Conference Player of the Year, what has been the biggest adjustment for you stepping into the Division I level at Florida A&M?
Honestly, the physicality. At this level, everybody's bigger, stronger, faster, heavy on the stronger. So the physicalities, that was definitely the biggest difference.
I totally understand.
You speak about the physicality. Yeah, and then you speak about the physicality. There's obviously a difference from, your last style of competition to the SWAC competition. But just since transferring, what has been some positives to going to Florida A&M? Because, Florida A&M has a lot of benefits for you as a player. We've seen you in the spotlight this year. We've seen you even get multiple awards from the SWAC. So what has just been benefits from transferring to Florida A&M?
Just being able to get better every day. I mean, I'm around great players. I'm around my teammates all the time. I'm around a great coach who knows the game inside and out. I'm around great coaches who also know the game inside and out. So, biggest benefit I got was just learning the game, especially being behind my coach who we call her a legend. So, just learning the game from her mindset and her perspective. So, I think that's the biggest benefit for me.
Great response.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the difference between the Division 1 level and any community college level is that the SWAC is very competitive, and the SWAC is one of the most competitive conference, men and women's side of basketball, in this league for sure. Because a lot of people that we have on it, they're like, oh, it's more competitive here. It's very more energetic, and I think that's what a lot of people anticipate to sleep on when it comes down to the SWAC conference is that it's a lot of competition in this conference. You never know who's going to win what, especially in tournament play. And like I tell Deuce all the time, that the lowest team in the SWAC or the mid or the second mid, really what I've noticed in my history of watching the SWAC tournament is that sometimes the lowest team or the mid lowest team always ends up being the most surprising team in the tournament. So you never really know in the SWAC or really any tournament in general on who is going to be who. But to change the subject here, Ms. McCarthy, my next question to you is I got one more after this, but this one is called playing style and versatility. For the people that don't know, Ms. McCarthy is known as a versatile 5'9" guard who can contribute across the entire stat sheet. Ms. McCarthy, you are a two-way play, is what I call it. You've shown a knack for being an active on ball defender with high steal numbers while still leading the offense. My question to you is how much pride do you take in your defensive anticipation?
Honestly, if I tell you the wrong answer, my coach might just yell at me. But I think the pride, yes, it starts within myself, but I also think it starts within like my coach. She is a big like defensive mindset coach. Like she's big on just being in the wrong spot at the wrong time can cost you the game. Just letting the shooter shoot an open shot, like that can cost you a game. So I think it starts from our coach just always fired up on defense, from us guarding the practice players to guarding each other, just always being hard on each other. So I think that pride, yes, it comes within myself, but I also think it's because of the coach too. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't think the coach would be upset with you because that was a good answer. And if the coach is upset with you, tell him I'll take the blame.
I
I'll take the blame.
should be happy about that one.
I'll take the blame. Okay, you're good. Dude, you got just something else, bro?
Yeah, and this is my last question. I said we weren't gonna keep you on, and look, the main focus on HBCU Central is to promote HBCUs. And the last question I just have to ask for you is just FAMU's culture, because I've been to FAMU. I'm in the band. I went there for band camps multiple times, and the culture around FAMU is the energy. It's electric. People are welcoming. For you being a new transfer to FAMU, what was that like stepping onto a new HBCU campus? As a black player.
I'm smiling thinking about it. I'm not gonna lie, it was like it feels like home. I didn't get to take a visit to FAMU. I just chose it. Just chose the school. It's close to home as well. But just being not even just being an athlete, just being a student at FAMU, like it's just I don't know. It's just a great experience just to be around like a whole bunch of people that look like you, talk like you, smell like you. Um, the alumni love us. The our crowds. It's just a blessing just to be a player here at FAMU. So.
I ain't even gonna lie, Miss McCarthy. The part that got me tripped out when you said "smell like you."
No,
that,
seriously.
that, that, that's a good
Bro.
thought because I've never heard no one else say that. That's actually a good thought.
Yeah, not
And
even
for
that though.
people,
Just like the calf, the food,
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
for
you
sure,
can't
for
beat
sure.
fried chicken Wednesdays. Like we got that
No,
here at Journey.
everybody know I'm fried chicken Wednesday. Yeah, that's my
Friday
For
Fish
spot.
sure.
Fridays. That's I'm
Hmm.
always there in the cab for those days.
My sister always texts me talking about you wouldn't believe what they got in the cafeteria today. She'll be sending me pictures and everything. I was like, that girl, y'all got it made over there. In the cafeteria, you right about them. They not throw down in them kitchens back there. Um, but let me ask you this. This isn't part of the question, but I also got to ask you: when it comes down to HBCUs, the last guest that we had on, she was a UAPB softball player, and the one thing that kind of tripped her out the most in excitement was that what people have to understand is that HBCUs, when you come to a game, it's not an event, it's a celebration. Would you agree with that as far as basketball when it comes down to playing at the Florida A&M University, especially with the home crowd, the students, the band, all that, the culture in general?
I can definitely agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. Honestly,
That because
that's
you
yeah.
know the reason
That's
why,
fair.
yeah, yeah, because the reason why I asked that because a lot of people, I ain't gonna lie, Deuce, I ain't even tell you this. I kind of got into it with a person on Instagram, basically saying that Power Five, we have celebrations too and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, but y'all celebration is it's not the same for HBCUs. And what I mean by that is the tone, the atmosphere, and just that building in general. Of course, and like I said in the last episode, of course, Power Five schools, of course, y'all gonna have everybody has a celebration without a doubt. But what separates HBCUs and Power Fives is that, like I just said, it's the culture, it's the band, it's the student section, it's the fraternities, the sororities, all that, all the clubs. They come together, they do the shows and all this and that. It's a culture. You don't see that at Power Five games, Miss McCarthy, and I know that because y'all played at Power Five schools early in the season, and you notice that when you play at home compared to playing at a Power Five school, it's not the same, and you can just see
Mhm.
that just by the atmosphere. Am I right on that?
Mhm. Yeah, you're right about that.
Okay, I just want to be sure that my history is correct because, like I said, I ain't technically get into it with the person, but he was trying to defend the difference between what Power Five schools is, and I was explaining to him that, sir, Power Fives they got their celebration, but it's when it comes down to HBCUs, it's not just a celebration; it's the history that adds on the celebration. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, every basketball game has a celebration, but it's the history that adds on to the court. It's not just a game when it comes to HBCUs because
Mhm.
our ancestors they played on that court when they couldn't even go to these Power Five schools back then. So it's a history for us, for people like us, our ancestors who played before our time. But my last question to you is, Ms. McCarthy, and I'm gonna leave it alone after this. It's
Mhm.
called Leadership and Team Goals. It's the SWAC tournament aspirations. Okay, so with the season progressing and the team building momentum, what are the primary areas you and your coach are focusing on to ensure a deep run in the SWAC tournament?
Staying together. It's not even like an on court thing. I just think, well, I know that as long as we stay together as a team and head into every game with knowing like like that we're like we can do this, we can finish the whole thing. That's all that matters. We're taking everything day by day, practice by practice. We're not overlooking or underlooking any teams. But I think the main thing is just staying together as a team. She takes pride on sisterhood, so yeah.
Absolutely. Sister and brotherhood is very important. That's one of the keys to having a successful locker room and a successful season. When when a roster can come together and win together, and not just for one another or have a selfish environment. So that's very important. Miss McCarthy, that's all the questions I have. We appreciate you so much for taking this serious and also understanding the professionalism that we're trying to have here at HBCU Central Network and inside the locker room. On behalf of me, I appreciate you so much for taking the time, and I wish you the best of luck going into the SWAC tournament. We will be watching, and this won't be the last time you see us. I'm pretty sure. So until then, on behalf of me, I appreciate you. Best of luck to you and the lady Rattlers. Deuce, you got anything, brother?
Best, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, best of luck to y'all. I wish y'all the best that y'all make it far in this tournament and even hopefully get a spot in the NCAA tournament because I know that is, the ultimate goal to finish off the season I hope that everything goes well. And, you're always welcome back on the show. But as always, like I said, thank you for joining. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join our show, and it means a lot.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's kind of like my second podcast, I think. So, but thank you guys for reaching out and having me. I really appreciate it.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
man.
Have a good day. So, Michael, speaking of SWAC tournament, I told you that, well, for starters, SWAC tournament was coming for a while, and it was going to be here before we knew it, and now it's here. And I want to start on the men's side of things. I sent you the bracket, and it's in the order that we kind of predicted. Grambling, unfortunately, they did drop from the start of the season. They were in the top 5, and they dropped all the way down. And unfortunately, Michael, they do have to play a first round. I believe them, Mississippi Valley, and like 2 other teams have to play a first round game. And look, it's a bummer that Graham doesn't get that first round bye. But if they can win this game, you have momentum going into your next game. And I believe they play Valley first. But Michael, let's just break down this bracket, your thoughts and opinions on teams, and I'll let you go first.
Honestly, I'm gonna give you my expectation, then I'm gonna give you my prediction. Who I think is the hottest team going into this SWAC tournament for the men's side. For the people that don't know, the 2026 PFC SWAC men's basketball tournament expect a highly competitive 12-team field competing for an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. The event will take place from March 9th through the 14th, 2026, at the Gateway Center Arena in College Park, Georgia. Now, there's the tournament schedule and matchups, like you basically just said. The tournament uses a single elimination format featuring 12 teams with top seeds receiving byes. March 9th through the 10th, there's opening rounds featuring lower seeds like Alcorn State, Alabama State, Grambling State, Mississippi Valley State, Preview A&M, and Jackson State. March 11th through the 12th, quarterfinals. Top seeds enter including number 1, Bethune-Cookman, and number 2, Florida A&M. March 13th through the 14th. Make sure y'all writing this down. Semis/finals. The championship game is set for March 14th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPNU. Key storylines and favorites, dudes. Here are the top contenders to me. The regular season champions, Bethune-Cookman, enters as the number 1 seed and the favorite at plus 210, while first-year coach Charlie Ward as number 2, Florida A&M, playing elite defense. Here are the dark horse and star power. Number 7 seed, Jackson State, led by preseason player of the year, Deshaun Ruffin, as a potential tournament threat. Also, Deuce, he was named SWAC player of the year. So congratulations to Deshaun Ruffin. The venue. Returning to Gateway Center Arena in Atlanta, the venue is expected to draw strong crowds, particularly from schools with a regional alumni basis. The SWAC tournament, this isn't just an event. It's a celebration of history, of dominance, legacy, in just one arena, where only one champion will rise in the SWAC for men wise. Before I give you my prediction of who's going to win, let me get him pass the mic on to you.
1 second, Mike.
Take your time.
Okay, hold up. My camera is acting up.
All right, you're good.
Let me switch it. All right. Let me add me back to the screen. So I'm gonna say this. I'm looking at this bracket right now, and you see you got Texas. Wait, I'm actually looking at the women's side. Let me look at the men's side of the bracket before we talk about the women's side of things, because the men's side I feel like it's interesting because you got Bethune-Cookman at the 1 who gets actually 2 days off due to them. So they're possibly even having to face Alabama State, Alcorn State, or Prairie View. I said this, Michael. Bethune, if it matters about the seeding, but at the same time it doesn't, because any team can make a run. I saw Grambling in the same position last year where they got they didn't play in the first round, they played in the second round, and they still made it all the way to the semifinals.
All the way to the semifinals.
But just looking at this schedule, I'm gonna talk about Grambling side of things because Grambling has a harder side to get to the championship due to them being so low. Yes, you can beat Valley. But you got to play a good Jackson State team who you not just mention about Deshaun Ruffin, who is SWAC Player of the Year, and shout out to him. Shout out to him for getting SWAC Player of the Year. And also shout out to Mississippi Valley's Michael James, who was also on our show, because he was most definitely first team. He was first team SWAC. So shout out to him and Deshaun Rothman. But Grambling State would have to play Jackson State, Florida A&M, then the winner of UAPB and Southern, and then the winner of all from most likely in my prediction would be Bethune-Cookman. I feel like Grambling in this sense, due to them slacking in the postseason, now they have a harder chance to get to the championship game. Now they play a good game. They play a Mississippi Valley team. I'm gonna say this: despite the record, all HBCU teams are competitive. I'm gonna say this: all HBCU teams are competitive. So Grambling, though, you can beat Valley 8:30 on Monday, and you just go into the rest of the tournament with momentum. That's what you need. And Grambling already beat Jackson State once in this year for basketball. It can be done again. It can be done again. My predictions though, for the tournament though, honestly, I think we're gonna see a Bethune-Cookman Southern in a championship game. Southern has been despite the losses, Southern has been one of the most consistent teams offensively on the side of the ball and defensively on the side of the ball. They can shoot free throws really well, and they're very efficient shooting from beyond the arc. And we know about Bethune-Cookman because Bethune-Cookman, we've seen them what they've done all year. Yes, they did lose. Yes, they did lose a couple games, but that doesn't stop their momentum stretch. Michael, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, I think from what I got on here, dudes, let me tell you who I think is going to win. Then I'm going to give you my prediction matchups. As of March 6, 2026, y'all, I got Bethune-Cookman as the best position team to win the SWAC men's basketball tournament. They enter the postseason as the number 1 seed after clinching the 2026 SWAC regular season title with a 14-4 conference record. Now, here are the top contenders, dudes, and you basically listed it out. You listed Southern, but let me also give you some other teams. Now, I've already talked about Bethune-Cookman, but let me break it down for people that don't know. Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, the number 1 seed in the SWAC. As far as the brackets go, they were just released today. The clear favorites odds under SWAC Coach of the Year, Reggie Theus. I believe I say his name correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. They are led by first-team All-SWAC selection Jacoby Heedy, who led the league in field goal percentage with 52.7%. Southern Jaguars, number 3 seed. Despite being the 3rd seed, they have the second best odds to win the tournament with plus 320. They were the preseason favorites and featured a high-impact core, including all-SWAC first-team guard Michael Jacobs. Number 3, Florida A&M Rattlers, number 2 seed in the SWAC. They led by first-year head coach Charlie Ward. The Rattlers finished second in the standings, 11-7 in the SWAC, and entering the tournament with a significant momentum. Now, here's another thing. Now, here's another one, dudes. And I think it's a shocker. Texas Southern Tigers, number 4 seed. Always a postseason threat. Texas Southern has won several recent SWAC titles in 2021, 2022, and 2024. Here it is. They enter as the number 4 seed with plus 800 odds. Go ahead, dude.
I'm going to say this real quick because if I'm a team playing Texas Southern, I'm gonna say this. Texas Southern has most momentum coming into this tournament because how they finished the season off. They may have lost one of the last few games of the season, but they came from mid-season to the end. They were on a winning streak. And I mean, I watched them from the middle of the standings jump to the top of the standings. And I'm looking at this right now because it's like a log jam. You got from your teams that are 11-7 all the way down to 10-8, and really 9-9, like Prairie View. And those teams, despite the record, those teams are all in the same skill bracket. All in the same skill bracket. It's like the one thing about this tournament, and I hate to say this about Mississippi Valley, every other team got a shot. Really, every other team got a shot because they don't all beat each other. They didn't all beat each other. Every team has a shot to win this. And this is the thing. The SWAC, Michael, did we not say the SWAC is a very competitive thing, a very competitive conference? It is going to take hard work and dedication and effort to win these games. And I mean, right now, it's no days off because it continues back to back to back to games. You lose, you go home. You lose, you go home. You pack with your bag, you leave Atlanta, you go home. If I'm Grambling, you're not wanting to get that trip home. In fact, if I'm Graham, I'm saying this. I want revenge for last year. We should have went to the championship game. We should have made back-to-back NCAA titles. We should have made it. But we lost Alabama State last year. If I'm Grambling, you're coming out with momentum on your head. We got to beat Valley. We have to beat Jackson State. I'm looking at some other teams right now that that have a good spot. UAPB is another team that we talked about at the beginning of the season who started off hot. They're still a top team in the SWAC, and if I'm UAPB to complete our historic season and have one of our best seasons in recent years, you beat Southern, because right now they got 2 days off too. You beat Southern, and then you play the winner of FAMU, Jackson State, or Graham, or Valley. You see what I'm saying? UAPB also has a strong shot to make it to a championship game, and them make it to a championship game it would mean so much for that program. So much for that program who has not gotten a lot of light in the recent years. We speak about HBCUs needing exposure. Some teams that really need the exposure the most, UAPB would need that. Prairie View would need that more, because look, their football team just had one of the best seasons they've had in years.
Mm-hmm.
For their basketball team to do the exact same thing. Alcorn State, same as I think every team has to come in this playoffs with we have something to prove.
Yep. And Deuce, I'm gonna give you a rundown, just the seeding. Another team that I would not sleep on is Alabama A&M, and I'm gonna say that because without a doubt, Coach Dante Jackson will always be a target in a positive way. And I say that respectfully. He will always be a potential target because even in the regular season, Grambling has had a hard time beating Alabama A&M. And that just shows you how good of a coach and a coaching staff and the players that he has. So I would not be surprised if Alabama A&M stuck their neck in the door in either in the finals or even in the SWAC championship. Dude, this let me say this. This tournament is going to come down to 1 to 2 reasons. And I'm going to say it again because it's tournament time, and I'm going to say it like I said in the SWAC championship. Every one of these teams got a weakness. But the Cookman got a weakness. Even though they're ranked number 1, like you said, dude, that don't matter. Florida A&M got a weakness. Southern got a weakness. Texas Southern got a weakness. Alabama A&M got a weakness. Arkansas Pine Bluff got a weakness. Jackson State has a weakness. Preview A&M even has a weakness. So now, round 1, 2, whatever, is really going to determine, going to the SWAC championship, what team will have the most horrible effect in their negatives than their positives. Because every team has more negatives than positives. But you want to have positives and less negatives. But that's what it's going to come down to.
And I'm going to say this, and you keep talking about what it's going to come down to. I feel like the playoffs is where it really restarts for every team. It's fresh. Yeah. It's a fresh bracket. Everybody got the same amount of days off to start off the tournament.
Yep.
Maybe they don't probably have to, but coming into the tournament, you have the same amount of preparation. Now, yes, Grambling don't play 2 days earlier, but I'm gonna say this: Alabama State and Alcorn can very much make a run despite their seeding. Alcorn, did they not beat Jackson State? I believe they upset somebody this year, and I forgot who. They upset somebody, and I'm gonna figure it out.
I believe it was Bethune-Cookman.
It was Bethune-Cookman. Let me see. Let me just make sure. Yes, 2 points. It was Bethune-Cookman. So that's my point proven. This tournament, you never know. And it's on a neutral site, Michael. Neutral site. There is no home court advantage. It's whoever wants it more. Whoever wants it more. Now, yes, the bands are going to be there. You got bands, you got crowds there. But it's a neutral site. We saw Grambling go and upset Jackson State in Las Vegas on a neutral site. And Jackson State was ranked. They were a ranked FCS team. And I know this is basketball, but what I'm saying is it can be done. Alcorn, Alabama State, they can go into this tournament, have a great tournament with all the momentum. Bethune-Cookman gets 2 days off with rest, and they come in and lose the first game. I've seen teams with byes lose the first game because of the rest. And teams come in and have that momentum. It happens all the time.
All the time. And it doesn't really matter whether you have a day off or not. It's just a matter of, how well you play your game. I'm gonna go the movie Road to Glory right quick when Bobby Joe Hill told Coach Don Haskins, who was Texas Western Miners back then. The movie's called Road to Glory, and he told Coach, if you just let us play our game. And Coach Don Haskins told him, all right, Bobby Joe, you play your game, but you also play my game. So, dudes, that's what it's gonna really come down to. Which team has the best game style that any one of these teams can defeat? Because let's not make no mistake. The 2025 defending champions, Alabama State, enters as the number 10 seed after a 7-11 conference season. I wouldn't sleep on them either. So that's just what it's gonna come down to, dudes. It's a neutral site. It's a fresh start of the season, basically week one, if you want to call it week one in the tournament. It's, it's a restart, a transition, going into conference tournament play. So it's
And
really just gonna come down to which team's game is the most effective.
and I'm gonna say
That's
this
another thing it's gonna come down to.
exactly what was said about the men's literally goes for the women's just as well. But I'm gonna say this on the women's side of things. Grambling actually has 2 days off, and like I know you just said, it doesn't matter. But Grambling's women basketball, the fact that they turned around from midseason and closed off the season strong. Your first game is against Alabama State, and then you play the winner of the Alcorn in the game 4 winner. It can be done, Graham fam. It can be done, and I know we're looking at all of them, but I'm gonna say this: Grambling's biggest threat right now for the women's side of things is Alabama A&M. Because that team is different, Michael. That team is different. Shout out to their coach. Shout out to their coach on an incredible season. They had probably one of the best seasons in recent years.
Yes.
Michael, what was their exact record? I believe.
You really what you want to know their conference or their regular record?
Their conference record, because I know Alabama A&M had like 1 loss in conference play.
Dudes, I'm gonna be honest. They went. If this record is correct for what I got in here, they went 17-1. That is hard to do, and that just shows you, dude, just how electrifying the Alabama A&M Lady Bulldogs are. Dude, every time I go on Instagram, they be the first team that I see on that HBCU Central page. And dudes, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be as aggressive as I possibly can. We got to get their head coach on here. We got to, because
Coach Thornton,
one, I love her. I love her energy. I love what she's done. We got to get, if it's not a player. I mean, if it's not her, then we got to get one of the players. I don't care. I'll try every roster, and I say it respectfully, because I don't want no one seeing thinking that, oh, you finna do the unnecessary. No, 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 no. I'm talking about from a professional standpoint, because we got to get one of them. We got to get one of them, or 2 of them, or 3. I don't even care, dude. We got to get one of them.
What they're doing over there at Alabama A&M is just, I mean, Coach Thornton, she's stamping herself as a great in the SWAC conference.
Yes, yes. Like, I mean, dude, this is the first time they've entered the regular season champions for the first time in school history, dude. The Bulldogs are clear favorites without a doubt.
That's what I'm gonna say.
They do a nationally ranked defense.
On the women's side of things, I would be more scared for Alabama A&M. That basketball team is different. They remind me of South Carolina State's basketball team.
Yes.
They literally remind me of, or LSU, like the way they play. The way they play, it just reminds me of that Alabama A&M. They're fast, they're gritty, they get to the paint, they score the bucket, they get the rebounds, they make the free throws. There's more positives than mistakes with that team. Their defense, they are well defensively coached.
They are well coached. They are well disciplined.
And I'm also know this. It's only her second year too, so you have to give her props to that, because a lot of coaches in their first and 2 years, they don't have the impact that you think. They don't have the impact. She came in, turned that program. You said this is the first time in school history. You got to give her props, and you got to give the Lady Bulldogs their props too.
There it is. What you just said. Her first season was not as good as this one. That is the main factor of almost every single coach, from the D1 level to the Power 5 level. It doesn't matter. 9 times out of 10, with a coach in his first season, you either go good or bad. Because I'm gonna say this: Preview A&M head coach.
They were good.
He took them to the SWAC championship in his first season.
And I'm gonna say this for the women's side though, because in her first year, she 14-4 in conference play. You elevate that this year and go 17-1. Progression, and this is making you like the team to beat in the SWAC on that women's side of things. Like, how for football, you got teams in the SEC that are like Alabama or Penn State, but you got teams that are hard teams to beat. Alabama A&M is submitting themselves as one of those teams, and coming into the tournament, the top teams are Southern. Well, let me make sure. You got Alabama A&M, you got Alcorn, you got Southern. Those are your really top 3 teams, and then your log jam teams in the middle: Alabama State, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Grambling State, Jackson State. The women's side of the bracket is not like the men's. It's not like the men's because the men's, I'm gonna say this. Men's, you can go all the way down the thing and everybody has a chance to win. Except Valley. I'm sorry to say that. But Valley, I'm not gonna give it out. It's I know it's a long shot, but Valley proved me wrong. But for the women's side of things, you're really worried about the teams 1 to about, I'm gonna say Texas Southern, because they can give you a bucket on any other given day. But you, Michael, we keep saying this though. It's all about who wants it more in this tournament. It's all about who wants it. I've seen upsets happen too. You never know what Alabama A&M. Whoever wants it more is going to win this game.
Yeah, that's just what it comes down to. And of course, we're giving Alabama A&M their hypes right now because they're just that team this year. They're just that team. But like me and Deuce specifically said before, this is a restart of the regular season. Whatever happened in the regular season, that's over and done with. This is tournament time. This is March Madness, actually. But Deuce, let me also say this, and I think this is going to trip you out. The Lady Bulldogs, they boost a nationally ranked defense with 12th in the NCAA and the conference's best field goal defense. But Deuce, let me also give you my top 4 teams that in this SWAC ladies tournament. Yeah, number 2, Alcorn State. Deuce, that's also a team that I think is going to be next level, neck and neck with Alabama A&M. Deuce, they're 14-4 in the SWAC. A major threat that secured the 2nd seed with a strong finish to the season. Number 3, Alabama State Lady Hornets. Deuce, they're 12-6 in the SWAC. They earned the number 3 seed with a tiebreaker over Southern. And then number 4, you got Southern Jaguars. Like I said, tiebreaker 12-6. The defending champions enter as the 4th seed, looking to repeat despite a lower than expected regular season finish. I would not sleep on, especially Southern, because, like I said before, they were defending champions, and I honestly think that they're also the next team that can also be more aggressive with Alabama A&M. So I got Alabama A&M, Alcorn State, and Southern. So, dudes, honestly, it's just a matter of, like you said, who wants it more. Alabama A&M could possibly choke. Southern could possibly choke. Alcorn. All 4 of these teams I listed, dudes, could possibly choke. But like I specifically said with the men's bracket, it's all about which team's weakness is going to affect them more. Because coming into this tournament, let me put it this way. Whatever amount of weaknesses that each of these teams have, these 4 teams have, will determine their fate in the tournament. Despite them having a day off, 2 days, or no days off. The fate of this tournament is going to matter of how much positivity do you have? Do you have enough to last in the tournament? Because that's what comes down to the tournaments. Is that the fate of your season will determine as how much how much negatives do you have? Do you have more positives or do you have more negatives? Because every team has a weakness. Okay, that's just the truth of reality. If you want to see and say, "Oh, my team got no weaknesses," okay, you're a fan, so I can't argue with you with that. But there's no such thing as a perfect team. Despite Alabama A&M being 17-1 in SWAC play, that does not determine anything. They're good without a doubt, but do they have their negatives? Do they have their struggles? Absolutely. That's with every team. But like I said, which negative is going to affect the fate of every single team in this tournament? That's what's going to matter. But dudes, there are also some players that we also have to watch for. Kyle Walker, Alabama A&M, the 2026 SWAC Player of the Year. First of all, shout out to Miss Walker, by the way. Leads the league in free throw percentage and is the offensive engine for the Bulldogs. Dudes, I ain't got to say no more of that. I'll say it again. Offensive engine for the Bulldogs. So also watch out for her. Nakia Chenham. If I mispronounce her name, forgive me. Alcorn State. Dude, she was the SWAC Defensive Player of the Year. Will be critical for the number 2 seeded Lady Braves. India Bowen, UAPB. Which I believe we had her on last episode, if I remember correctly. She's the SWAC newcomer of the year and is a dangerous scoring threat for the number 7 seed. So, dude, those are the 3 players that you have to watch out for. And it's not just these 3 players; it's their entire roster. But which roster has a whole? That's the question. Which team has a whole? Every team has a whole. Every team. I don't care what you say. Every team has a whole. Even though the seed, yeah, that's good and all, but you can't look at the numbers. Because what matters the most is does your weakness, okay, your hole, that's weakness, is it big enough or is it small enough? And if it's small enough, you might have a more 100%, 90% chance of lasting in the tournament, possibly making the SWAC championship. That's what it is. That's the way it is. That's just what it is. I'm just calling it like it is. That is the reality of it all. Who has the longest fate in this tournament? Don't care about the seed. Seed don't matter. The fate of the regular season and the team, that's what matters here.
Agreed. And look, just to close off this podcast, because we did say we're on a short time crunch, so I hope you all enjoyed the guest that we had on with Ms. McCarthy today. And if you're watching the tournament, drop down in the comments who you're rooting for. Me and Michael will be covering the SWAC tournament throughout this week, women's and men's, sending you updates. And we also have some very important guests that we have coming on after the SWAC tournament. So, and then shout out to all the players that got SWAC awards. I know Gremling's very finest Antonio Munoz got freshman of the year. Even Michael James got first team SWAC. There's a couple of players on there that we've interviewed that got their awards. So shout out to y'all and shout out to the work that y'all have done. And I know we didn't have time to cover the MEAC side of the thing and the other conferences, but next episode we will recap those tournaments.
Deuce, even though we did not have time to touch the MEAC, what team on the women's and men's side do you think is the hottest threat?
Howard.
Hands down, because that's my choice. Let me see what I got.
Women's and men's. Yep. And I'm gonna put you on the screen really quick. You can explain that really quick, and then we gotta wrap this up. But I got Howard women's and men's due to what they've been doing on the court. We talked when we interviewed who was it? It was
Miss Thomas.
Miss Thomas, yes, Miss Thomas.
Yeah.
She explained that they had something to prove. They had something to prove right now, and they proved it all season. Now it's just time for the postseason.
Deuce, it was Shania Thomas.
Yes,
Shania Thomas. Deuce, I'm gonna give you why Howard is the favorite. Dominant performance. Howard leads the lady Ladybugs. Excuse me. The reason why Howard is the favorite is because of dominant performance. Howard leads the MEAC in scoring offense with 67.0 points per game and entered the tournament with a projected 57.2 chance of winning the title. Elite talent. The Bisons are led by star forward, like Deuce just said, Mrs. Shania Thomas, who, aka the problem child of the MEAC, who recently recorded 24 points and 14 rebounds in a single game, and freshman guard Ariella, I don't even know if I'm saying her name right. I apologize if I'm not. Who scored a career high of 21 points in the season's final stretch. Historical milestone. This is the first time, Deuce, since 1987 that both Howard men's and women's programs has entered the tournament as number 1 seeds in the same season. Norfolk State, Deuce, but here's another thing. Norfolk State remains the most dangerous threat to Howard's run as the defending champions and owners of the league's best scoring margin with plus 6.0. Now, that was the women's side. Let me give you the men's side. The reason why the men's is the favorite in here is their momentum. The Bisons entered the tournament on an 8-game conference win streak, including a critical 84-76 win over Norfolk State to close the regular season out. Star power. Forward, Bryce Harris is considered the best player in the conference, leading the MEAC in both scoring and rebounding. Last thing, health. Coach Kenneth Blakeney noted that the team is finally healthy for the first time in over 2 seasons, which has stabilized their chemistry. Deuce, that's my reasons why both Howard women's and men's basketball is the favorite to win this game. But make no mistake, they have a threat behind them that I would not sleep on. Like I said, for the women, it was Norfolk State. For the men, I could not find a potential threat. But what I can tell you is just watch out for Howard men's and women's basketball programs because, like I just said, this was the first time since 1987 that this has ever happened. And, let me rephrase that. The next threat on them is Morgan State, who is 10-4, excuse me, in the MEAC conference behind Howard, which is 11-3, and then probably North Carolina Central at 8-6. So, Deuce, that's just what it is for the men's basketball side. I mean, it's just that's impressive that both women's and men's were able to be number one seeds for the first time in program history.
And it's rare that we see that where both women's and men's get number one. So you got to give a shout out to that program. But, just wrapping this podcast up, we will be covering our every game. Well, not every game, but we'll be recapping, the tournaments. We hope to get to this, what's called the CIA and the SEAC too. I know we kind of drifted away from that a little bit. The next episode, we will be recording and talking about that. Also, stay tuned to our next special guest. I think most of y'all know by now we're just getting guests on here at this point. Each show, we do have new guests. So show support to them. And make sure you show support to their program too. Michael, you got something?
Yeah, I was gonna say our next guest will be on the 9th, March 9th, Monday at 7:30 p.m. We have Morgan State's women basketball player Miss Hayes. We were gonna get her on the first, but due to circumstances, we pray that she got it figured out. So that will be our next special guest. And I'll say it again, we have Morgan State's women's basketball player Miss Hayes, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on the next episode that we have over here at HBCU Central Network. March 9th is the day. That's our next day.
Make sure you stay tuned to that. We're almost at 200 subscribers. I'm not 200 followers on Instagram. I think we're at 193. Please help us get to 200. We're at 336 subs on YouTube. Get us to 350. We're almost there. And also shout out to us inside the locker room, our work. It's been 1 year. We keep continuing to make more work. And also make sure you stay tuned because next week we do have our special episode with Noah. It's gonna be our 1 year anniversary episode. So that'll be a lot of fun to see the original, all 6 of us on one episode. We have not had that yet. So that will be a good episode. Make sure you we're still playing. It's still being planned out, but it's either going to be Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. We're still planning it out, but we got to find a good day for everybody. It's going to be packed with content. We're probably going to talk about the draft. All our football teams. Me and Michael kind of haven't been talking about NFL for a little bit because we've been talking about HBCUs. But you will see us over there with Adam and Bendy. We have not forgot about them because that's what we also do too. Michael talks about the Saints. I talk about the Cowboys. We haven't drifted away from that, and we still talk about our basketball stuff. Just it's HBCU stuff, so we're trying to get all this up and running for real. But make sure you just stay tuned to all of that, and make sure you support. You show the support, like, comment, subscribe. In the comments, comment your team, which team you're repping for the SWAC tournament, or the MEAC tournament, or the CIA tournament, or the SEAC tournament, and make sure you share this. And our goal is 75 views with 15 likes. Michael, do you have any closing remarks before we close this out?
My goal is 200 subscribers at least before the end of this month. Subscribers, 500, same thing with me. As far as our personal accounts, I've made it to 1,500. Appreciate y'all so much for giving me 1,500. Now I'm shooting for 2,000. I'm working very hard to do that over here at MST. Deuce, I don't know what your goal is, but make sure you get whatever Deuce your goal is. Make sure you get him there because we're growing and the more we do this. And I'm proud of the work that we put in just this 1 year. And hopefully in the future we'll be able to continue this to where we'll be one of the best sports podcasters or young, sports podcasters or sports talkers in this industry. So we appreciate y'all. Like Deuce said, like, comment, subscribe inside the locker room. Make sure you follow us at HBCU Central. Get us to 200 followers. And I think that's all I got, Deuce.
And thank y'all for the support. And like I always say, thank y'all for watching and tune in to next time. Peace out.
Grace.